Oh, yes, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of Slam Talk Sports. It is a glorious Friday afternoon here in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. It is 12:20 p.m. and it's official. It is absolutely official. I've got full-blown finals fever. Oh, yes, don't worry about any sort of vaccines. They can't help me now. No, they can't, because the two best games of the year will be about to unfold over this weekend here in Melbourne. It all starts tonight between the most historic of rivals. Yes, these two teams simply do not like each other. It is the Cats taking on the Hawks at the MCG, 7:40 tonight here on a Friday night here in Melbourne. And tomorrow we've got two teams that really do not like each other either, and they've matched up so many times in the big stages of the season, grand finals, prelim finals. Let's add another one tomorrow afternoon as the Pies host the Brisbane Lions at the MCG, 5:15 here in Melbourne, Australia. Before we unpack all that, before I preview all that, before I give you all my betting selections, all my tips and tricks for what is my favourite weekend of the year, let's talk about some news. Unfortunately, my team, the Essendon Football Club, leads the news despite the fact their season ended realistically 4 months ago. Essendon are in a crisis. I think it's fair to say their best player and captain, Zach Merritt, is leaking stories about them. The club's leaking stories about him. He doesn't want to be there. For some reason that we haven't clearly been known to us yet, he hates this football club. He has gone nuclear. He has to get out. Now, could it be the instability at board level? It could. Could it be the inability to get their best players on the field due to their lack of preparation? Maybe. Could it be because their fitness staff is not at the top level compared to other clubs and franchises and teams around the world? That could be the case. Could it be that they're the worst in the AFL? That's probably most likely. Essendon have had an inability to get their players on the field. They've had an inability to select players in the top 10 in the draft, which have panned out. I mean, they just haven't under Adrian Dodoro. So there's a myriad of reasons why Zach Merritt wants to leave the Essendon Football Club. But over the last couple of days, I think the reasons have become a little bit more clearer to me. Now, these have been what I've thought for the longest time, the reasons why Essendon are struggling, why they've been stuck in mediocrity for 20 plus years. It's due to the board. It's due to people that don't really know football. It's people that want power. They want to be in control. They want to say, hey, it was me. That was my idea. Give me the credit when things go right. But as we've seen over the last few days, reports from Jay Clark, reports from Tom Morris, and now I see one, Code Sports, written today, that David Barham, the president of Essendon, came out with some strong and abusive language to former Essendon player Ted Fordham. It was at an Essendon reunion or a luncheon when Fordham criticised Essendon's play and their inability to move the ball forward against Richmond in round 18 when they lost. Essendon also suffered a devastating injury to Nick Martin that night, but really Essendon and the supporter base realised that we're absolutely stuffed for the next couple of months and potentially the next couple of years with their performance against Richmond on that game. I was there with some good friends in Scott and Austin and their partners, and yeah, it was diabolical. It was hard to watch. Essendon refused to go forward. They couldn't hit a simple target. They're up against a Richmond team, missing senior players as well. And quite simply, it was the worst performance I've seen from the Essendon Football Club in probably 20 years. And that includes the drug saga. That includes the top-ups. That includes games where we've failed to score a goal in the first half against North Melbourne. This was the worst performance I've seen in years. And Fordham said this at a past players function. And David Barham then criticised him. He abused him. He used foul language to shout him down and told him, F off, support another club. Is that how you treat a legend, let alone a premiership player? It is not. The biggest issue at Essendon is the effing board. It is. They want to give Zach Merritt more money. So what's your idea of solving a problem? To throw more money at it until they love you? Zach Merritt's not a prostitute. Zach Merritt is not some sleazy mail-order bride. Zach Merritt's our fucking captain. At least he is for at least next couple of weeks. So you think, let's just give you more money. That'll shut you up. That'll fix you up. What is wrong with this club? Zach Merritt is disillusioned. Fair enough. I'd be disillusioned too if I was a player. Do I go about it by nuclearizing or blowing up the whole situation? No, I don't. Do I have some class, some respect for the good people around the club, for the whole playing group, For the club as a whole, which is very unstable right now, do I leak stories about them? No, I don't. That's classless as a captain. He went about it the wrong way. But I understand, as all Essendon fans, why the hell are you wanting out of this place? Because we are so poorly run. We are rotting. We are rotting away in a sea of mediocrity until we can fix the internal issues at Essendon. Our coaching, there's no sign of coaching. We haven't had a clear game plan under Brad Scott. Board level, we just knife people 2-3 years. That's it. Matthew Knights have a 2-year extension. 1 year later, F off. James Hurd's available. Ben Rudden took us to the finals. Unfortunately, we lost to the Doggies in Tasmania in a wet game. It wasn't probably our conditions. Oh, what? A year later, you can F off as well. There's instability. It's a constant knifing culture and looking and seeking for more power. It's just it's like Game of Thrones. It's like a ladder. Someone's on top, and someone's on top, and someone's on top. Someone needs to be in power and feeling in charge, like the other one that's going to take Essendon back to the promised land, or else they get knifed. Essendon need a clear 5-year plan. They need to commit to it. They need to commit to the draft. They need to commit to having a senior coach that they trust in, that the players trust in, that the supporter base trust in, that people want to go and watch that style of play. Essendon haven't had that since probably the Sheedy days. Let's be serious. We played okay footy under Hurd. We played okay footy under Bomber. We weren't playing devastating footy. We weren't playing top 4 footy. Essendon have nothing to believe in right now. What do I pitch my flag in the ground and say, this is where we're going to go forward. This is what's going to make us great. This group of players will be here for 10 years. They won't want to leave. They won't be disillusioned. There's no right answer at Essendon. I see so many successful clubs, Geelong, Hawthorn, Collingwood, Brisbane, the 4 teams playing this weekend. What do they have in common? They're well run. They have strong leaders. They recruit well and they draft well. Essendon don't do any of those things. And until they figure that out, until they can fix it, until they can be like Geelong, as Darren Barham said at his press conference, Essendon will be stuck in mediocrity for the rest of our lives. I don't know how to fix it. I don't proclaim to be a member of Essendon's board or have aspirations of doing so, or have the know or knowledge to fix this club. But as a paid member, someone that's given over $13,000 to this club to watch them play, I sit here not knowing what the answers are, and I'm sure internally they don't know them either. We'll move on. Another club, another captain looking to part ways. It is Jai Simpkin, the captain of the North Melbourne Football Club, not for the same reasons as Zach Merritt, but it is due to playing time. He can't crack their midfield right now, and I've got a lot of great North supporting friends, the Fenner brothers, to name a few. They've said Jai's not in our best midfield. In our best midfield, we've got Luke Davies-Uniacke. We've got George Wardlaw when he's fully healthy. We've got Harry Sheasel when he's healthy as well. And you throw a lot of other players in there playing bit-part roles. Jai Simpkin is not in their first rotation midfield. He just isn't. Now, if you're 26 years old and you're playing for one of the worst clubs in the league and you're not in their midfield, what makes you think he's going to play, or you're going to play if you're Jai Simpkin, for a better club and crack their midfield and have a big impact? I'm unsure. Is Jai Simpkin a bad player? No. He was pretty good playing that half-forward mid-role early in the season. But he's not a damaging player. He's not a high accumulator either, and he's not a high meters gained player. He's a tough inside ball winner who might have low 20s touches, maybe even kick a goal. Now that role, maybe like a Jack Viney role, could be useful to teams. He's not a bad player, but he's not a high-skilled player. So in the modern game, all others say the modern game, I'm not sure he is the prototypical midfielder that other teams are looking for either. So how this pans out, I'm unsure. Does he lose the captaincy? Potentially. I think if a club captain is looking to exit a club, he should lose the captaincy. That's just my personal opinion. So I don't know how this is going to pan out for Jai Simpkin. It could be a trade request that ultimately goes nowhere and North end up bringing him back next season. Also, Stephen May has been told by Melbourne to search for another club. Stephen May, one of the best fullbacks I've seen. Just plain and simple, he locks away the best full forwards, the best general key forwards in the competition, and he's done it for well over a decade. Unfortunately, injuries, probably disagreements with other leaders at the club have led to this decision, and of course a new coach coming in Stephen King. Now, this isn't a horror story. This won't end terribly for Stephen May. He won't be in any sort of misery. I think he goes to a new club, potentially has a new lease on life and could win another premiership. He's still a very good player, and there's clubs like the Doggies, like Collingwood, like Carlton, even some interstate clubs that would love a lockdown key defender like Stephen May. Melbourne are looking in a new direction. They're trying to bring through some younger players in those key positions. You look at Jake Lever, who is linked to North Melbourne. Stephen May now linked with Melbourne. And you've got other players like Christian Petrarca who are linked to other clubs. It is a sign of not a true, complete rebuild at Melbourne because they've still got pieces of a team that could play finals in a couple of years, but it is a regeneration of their list. It is a turning over of the older players and trying to bring through younger players into new positions to see how they fare. We know Melbourne are not a premiership contender over the next 1 or 2 seasons. At least I don't think so. But I love some of the young talent. I love Harvey Langford. He was fantastic in the back end of the season. I think he was probably a true contender for the Rising Star, but no one really talked about him. I still like Caleb Windsor. I think he's got high talent. He could be anything. Cozzy Pickett is one of the best small forwards in the competition already. All these players are under 25 years old, so I still have a lot of hope for Melbourne, but this is a sign that the times are changing over at the D's. And finally, Tasmania. Oh, the bloody Tasmanian Planning Commission. What have they said now? They've said this stadium with this damn roof is just not practical, this size, in this area. It just won't work. We can't have the stadium here, and we'll be damned if we're paying for that damn roof. Where do we go? Tasmania, they're trying to appoint a coach. They're trying to appoint Nathan Buckley right now, but they don't have a stadium, and officially, they don't have a license. I'm worried. I'm very worried that this might not go ahead, that Tasmania have had their biggest chance to have a team, and they've blown it. They've blown it because they've been unwilling to have the foresight, unwilling to have the commitment, and really the wherewithal to know that this stadium's going to effing rock. Look at what happened in Perth. Look at what happened over in Adelaide. People didn't want the stadium to be multi-purpose. People said, oh, Adelaide Oval, it'll never work, okay? Oh, let's just bicker for another 100 years with the cricket team, okay? Oh, Optus Stadium, it'll never work. We've got some grounds here. We've got Subi. We've got the Wacker, okay? We don't need a new beaut, state-of-the-art, brilliant stadium that people from all over the world will come to see, okay? We don't need Coldplay concerts. We're fine here. You do, Tassie. If you want the best artists in the world, you want the biggest attractions, and of course, you want the best football games the AFL can offer, you need a damn roof. You need a new stadium. They'll point to GWS and saying, when the Giants came in, they've got this tiny boutique stadium out in Western Sydney. That's fine. Giants 10 years ago was a different scenario. And also the weather is much, much worse in Tasmania than it is in Sydney. The Giants are a very small club. They do not need a bigger stadium. They play in a cow paddock, okay? So do not measure yourself against a team that plays in a cow paddock. They potentially have the worst stadium in Australia. We want Tasmania to be different to that. We want people from all over Australia to go to Tassie. People are not going to visit Western Sydney. They might go to Bondi, they might go to Paddington and catch a Giants game on the way, but they're not going just to watch the Giants play unless it's a big final against their team. Tasmania can be different. You've got so much to offer down there. You just need to get this right. And I don't think things are looking good. They're really not. It ultimately comes down to what happens in Parliament. You need the upper house and the lower house to agree on this. The commission is important. It's going to obviously sway a few heads. It's going to turn a few heads, sway a few minds, if you want to say that. But is it the death nail? Is it all over? I don't think so, not just yet. But it is bad. It is bad, and it's something that has to be figured out very soon because there's coaching appointments. There's draft picks. There's, list management. All that's going to happen soon. Now, they come into the draft in 2 years' time. That's fine. But you need to be recruiting players. You need to be figuring out the style of play, your game style, your development coaches, everything. And the longer you delay this, the longer you delay your potential success in this league. That's all I'm going to say on it. Let's look forward to the best weekend of the year. 2 huge games. Let's start with Friday night football at the MCG. I'll be there in attendance to see the Cats take on the Hawks one more time. It is Geelong taking on Hawthorn at the MCG. Oh, I've been waiting for this. all year. I went on Easter Monday with my great friends Marcus and Nadia, and we saw a hell of a contest between the two best rivals in the AFL. And then I looked at the fixture and I thought, hold on a second, they don't play again this year. Why would you do that, AFL? Why are you robbing us from the best rivalry in sports? The most competitive and gripping game there is in the AFL. It's because they knew. They knew that they would meet again in a damn prelim, just like they did in 2013 when I saw one of the greatest games of all time between Geelong and Hawthorn. I was there with my great friend Nicholas Karikas. Oh yes, you know that name. Former co-host of the Time On podcast. We saw one of the great contests. That was ultimately the one that ended the Kennett curse and stopped Geelong's incredible winning streak against the Hawks. Now, if I can get the teams up, they're looking problematic for me right now. Hold on a second. For some reason, my view is way off. There we are, the teams for tonight. And naturally, there are... Oh, hold on. There's no changes. I don't even need the damn teams. I was going to tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be a very tight contest. There should be very minimal rain tonight. It's a little bit windy here in Essendon. It could be a little bit windy tonight, but I don't think it's going to affect these teams. They're so classy. Their ball movement is so crisp. We haven't seen Geelong play for 2 weeks. They've played one game in about 4 days' time, but it was a thumping victory over Brisbane where their ball movement and their speed really... it caught Brisbane out. It caught them out because the likes of Dempsey and Holmes and Smith, along with Dangerfield and Atkins and the ball movement, which allowed Jeremy Cameron to dominate early in this game, is why the Cats are premiership favourites right now. They've got so many A-grade athletes, so many track stars. They've got Noah Lyles out there. They've got Gout. They've got Max Holmes. They've got Ollie Dempsey. They've got Grant Myers. You think I'm just naming players? These are the guys that will have a big say in tonight's proceedings. On the Hawthorn side of things, can they stop them getting out the back? Can they stop this ball movement? And can they challenge Geelong from Hawthorn's back half? That is their one weakness. They're not great defending ball movement, fast ball movement, from the back half. It's going to be Jarman Impey, it's going to be Carl Amon, and it's going to be Josh Weddle. We've seen Weddle return to the team after his foot stress reaction, which made him miss, 2 months, potentially more. He's come back, he's looked amazing. He could have kicked 4 goals against Adelaide last Friday night. He was unlucky in that regard, but I think he's going to have a huge say in tonight's proceedings and potentially goes forward in the second half. Now, betting-wise, I think he could be a great bet for any-time goal or to bet live to score a goal in the second half. Is he getting gassed? I don't know. But they like to use him as a mismatch in their forward line when things start to change and people start a little bit more comfortable once they've got their matchups. Let's throw Josh Weddle down there. Let's throw Mr. Skibbity Sigma himself and see how you deal with him, okay, as I spit on the mic. I think Weddle is going to be a huge problem for the Cats tonight. Dempsey and Weddle potentially line up head-to-head. They go whoop all over the park. Both have 20-ish touches and kick goals. But that's going to be a crucial deciding factor. And we get to the forward line of the Cats. We know how talented they are. You throw in your Stingles, your Manners. But the big ones are, of course, Jeremy Cameron and Shannon Neal, Scratcher, as they like to call him. I think Jezza will play against Josh Battle, the All-Australian from this season. That's going to be a really tight matchup. Battle has all the skills. He's got the size. He's got the strength. He's got the speed as well to match Jezza most of the times, unless he's on those long leads where Jezza's just simply too quick. So I think Battle versus Jezza will be a great matchup, and also Neal versus Barris. Tom Barris has been one of the best defenders in this competition for a long period of time. Not a huge possession guy, not a huge intercept marker, but he can lock away his opponent like the best of them. And Shannon Neal plays such a crucial role for the Cats. He's a great mark, he's a good kick, and also provides that foil to Jeremy Cameron. So often, the team's defense is focused on Jezza, and Shannon Neal is the one that gets off the chain and has big days out. I don't think he's going to have a big day tonight at all. Big day tonight? Doesn't make any sense. I don't think he's going to have a big game tonight against Tom Barris because Barris is that elite. Could it be the Smalls? I'm backing the Smalls to have an impact. I think it's Dempsey, and I think it's Sean Manor. We've seen Sean Manor play well in finals in the past. We've seen him kick goals against Hawthorn. He did on Easter Monday. He kicked the decider. But also, he kicked 6 goals in a VFL final 2 years ago, a losing one against the Gold Coast Suns when he was at Werribee. I think this man is made for the occasion, so I like Sean Manor to kick a goal tonight as well. To wrap up the bets, I like Tom Atkins. 15 touches. I like Patrick Dangerfield, 15 touches. Why do I like them? Well, we see Geelong change the personnel in the midfield a fair bit, and we saw it in the first final. We saw Max Holmes split out wide. We saw Bailey Smith split out wide, and we saw Patrick Dangerfield in the guts and the very get-go of this contest against the Lions. So I think against the Hawks, he might also play a similar role, particularly from the start. You want your big bulls in there to win the contested ball. We saw what Jai Newcomb did to Adelaide a week ago. Patrick Dangerfield can help combat that, as well as Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins has been one of the Cats' best midfielders this year. He's one of the all-time tackling machines. And I think for him to have 15 touches is a pretty safe bet. Now, that's $1.17. Danger's about $1.40. I just know in a big contest like this, they're going to be around the pill and be counted on to help them wrestle this game in Geelong's favour. Goals-wise, I don't mind Manor, as I said, $1.40. I don't mind the Wizard. Nick Watson, will he cop attention tonight? Will he cop a Mark O'Connor? Will he cop an Oisin Mullen? I'm not sure, but I know how good he is in finals. Nick Watson's kicked a goal, I think, in every final he's played. He's played so well at Adelaide Oval, kicking some magnificent goals, and I think he'll want to atone for his big miss on Easter Monday against the Cats at $1.30. Not great odds, but I'm very confident he will kick one tonight, the Wizard. Also, Josh Weddle is $2.15 to kick a goal and $7 to kick 2 goals. I don't mind those odds, but I'm probably going to want to bet on him at halftime once I see how he's lining up. I mean, if he's playing so well in defence, maybe Sicily goes forward. If he's playing not so well in defence, he goes forward, maybe even goes to a wing, maybe plays a little bit of ruck time. It's hard to know. He might kick a goal in the first half because he's that damn good, but I'm probably going to want to wait to see how he's tracking at halftime. The other disposal I like is Carl Amon. Now, Carl has been very consistent. Unfortunately, he let me down last week, but the Cats give up touches to half-backs, particularly ones that aren't playing a strong role on their forwards. I mean, Carl Amon is just he's a wheel around, get the pill, seagull-like half-back. A good half-back who takes kick-ins, but not someone that the Cats are going to worry about too much putting defensive pressure on. I mean, he's a ball winner. When I say he's a ball winner, he's going to run around the flanks behind people, kick outs, wherever he can get the footy to help drive them forward because he's an excellent user. So I like Carl Amon for 20 as well. To wrap that up, Atkins 15, Danger 15, Amon 20, Manning goal, Watson goal, Dempsey goal, and we're going to wait and see on Josh Weddle. The midfield battle is going to be huge. The wing battle will be huge, and how Hawthorn can combat Geelong's tall forwards. We know how good Geelong are on their forward line, but I think Hawthorn have the best back six left in this year's finals. And of course, Hawks forwards. Hawks forwards have been in great form. Gunston is the one. He's the one tonight out of everyone. If Gunston kicks 3 or 4 goals, the Hawks are going to win. The numbers say so. If Gunston kicks 1 or 2, he has an okay game, maybe a couple of out-the-back goals, one on the lead. Hawks don't usually win. He is the barometer. You say Newcomb's the barometer? If Gunston has a nice day out, as he has in many finals over the last 15 years, then I think the Hawks are going to win. It's all on Gunners. And unfair as it is, if you kick 70 goals, you're going to be a very key deciding factor in this contest. I cannot wait for Friday night footy. It is prelim final time. It is what we played this game for. Let's effing go. Now let's look forward to the second prelim final. Back at the MCG, 5:15. It is the Pies taking on the Lions. Oh, yeah, this is a big one. What another great rivalry we've got here in the second preliminary final. The Lions and the Pies. These two teams, they don't like each other either, and they've played each other so many times in big games. As a footy fan growing up in the early 2000s, I remember 2002. 2003. Absolute wars, particularly 2002 in the driving rain at the MCG, while they were still redeveloping that beautiful arena. You had the Lions just get over the Pies in what was a wet and windy contest. It was Jason Ackermanis with that crucial snap in red time to help secure Brisbane their back-to-back premiership on their way to 3 in a row. And the Magpies, well, they were pretty good that day. I think the conditions might have helped. Nathan Buckley did win the Norm Smith medal. They may have voted half an hour before the game even ended, but it really showed what a great club Collingwood were, considering how much they struggled in the mid to late 90s. They were to come back around and play in a grand final in 2002 and 2003. Unfortunately, in 2003, they were pumped by Brisbane, who were the dominant team of that decade. But now we come back all the way around to 2025. The Magpies and the Lions are the last two premiers of this competition. They met 6 weeks ago at the MCG. Brisbane gave a little bit of a touch-up, but their best midfielder in Lachie Neale did get injured in that game. But then he did get injured once again against the Geelong Cats in that first preliminary final 2 weeks ago. How can Brisbane overcome the absence of last year's Gary Ayres medalist and the two-time Brownlow medalist in Lachie Neale? We'll find out by looking at the teams. What have they done? Who has come in and who has come out? Well, for Brisbane, there is nothing. Obviously, Lachie Neale didn't play last week in their win against the Gold Coast Suns. They've made no changes. For Collingwood, it is just Jeremy Howe. Jeremy Howe comes into the team who's played one game in about 10 weeks. He had the concussion that he suffered against Hawthorn in that Thursday night football game. The Pies lost by 40 points. He also had persistent groin issues this year, which has been why he's been unable to get up over the last 3 months. But he's back, Jezza. This absolute star defender for the Collingwood Football Club has got himself up one more time, similar to how he did in 2023. The line for tonight's game is 11.5. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. It is a very tight line. And for tomorrow's game, it is 5.5 points. How do I see it playing out? Well, if you watch a lot of SEN, as I do, I watch SEN, I don't listen to it. I need to watch Jared Healy's face and Daniel Hoyne. They say this is a game of chaos versus control. Now, chaos versus control, what is that? Chaos is when the ball is on the deck more than it's in the air. So, theoretically, if tomorrow's game, I keep stuffing them up, is a kick mark game, then the Pies should be favoured, and they are, and they should have control. It was a game of chaos, where the ball's on the deck, you have to win the hard ball, and often involves linking handballs, short kicks, and pressure disposals, then the Brisbane Lions would be favoured. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense, I know, because Collingwood are a high-pressure team. But can Brisbane absorb that pressure? Can they keep their composure? Can they keep their wherewithal and get the ball into the hands of their smooth movers, Ashcroft, McCluggage, Zorko, Fletcher, to give their forwards a chance? That is how Brisbane are going to win this game. Collingwood, on the other hand, are going to exert as much pressure as possible and try and get the ball off half back. They're going to try and intercept the ball with Darcy Moore and Darcy Cameron and Jeremy Howe. That is their one wood. That is what makes them elite. That's what made them the best defense in the comp over the last 3 seasons. Can they do that? Well, that's the big question. Can they put enough pressure on Brisbane to force those errors? We don't know. I can't sit here and tell you the answer. I just know in recent history, Brisbane have played so well against Collingwood. But I also know they knocked them off in a grand final, and they knocked them off by 10 goals at the Gabba earlier this season. So recent history doesn't mean diddly squat when it comes to these two teams. They're very evenly matched. What do I say? I say Collingwood are great in home prelims. The last 10 home prelims they've had at the MCG, they've won 9. Their one loss was to the Giants in what was an absolute stunning victory for GWS, but a game Collingwood would win 8 times out of 10. They got jumped in the third quarter, then the rain came, then some unfavourable decisions came from the umpires, and they just got rolled. That doesn't happen very often. Collingwood are very good at this ground. If you had to ask me who's going to win, I'm going to say Magpies. Am I confident? Hell no. I'm not confident in the slightest. I just know the Magpie Army will have a say tomorrow. They're worth a couple of goals, in my opinion, particularly on preliminary final weekend. Betting-wise, well, I'm glad you asked. I effing love this game for bettings, okay? You know why? Because the Pies don't tag, the Lions don't tag, and they both have some high possession getters that they want to get the football into. Let's start with Hugh McCluggage. He just had, 30 touches against the Gold Coast Suns. He was tagged by Oshin Malin in the first final. He wasn't tagged by the Gold Coast. Untagged Hugh McCluggage is a 30 disposal burger waiting to happen. We're going to put him in for 24 on the tab, okay? 24 touches, 25 as it'll say on your bet slip, is about $1.35. Hugh McCluggage will do that if he is untagged. You know why? Because he's Hugh McCluggage. Next player, Will Ashcroft. Will Ashcroft had an absolutely stunning game against the Gold Coast Suns as well. What was it? 2 goals and 28 disposals. I like him for 24. He's a man who's going to have plenty of pill. There's no Lachie Neale. The responsibility on his shoulders is massive, and we know he can handle it. He was last year's Norm Smith medalist. I think there's a good chance to win it next week if they get through. So I think Ashcroft for 24 touches is a very nice bet as well. Let's move forward to a couple of pies. Jordan De Goey and Scott Pendlebury. I like both of them to have 20 disposals. Now, Pendles is a finals monster. His hit rate at 19 touches is amazing. I think this year, he's going at 90%. This is his job. He is Pie's second best midfielder most weeks, okay? De Goey's back, that changes things slightly, but Pendles is so reliable, so composed. I love him for 19 touches, as I love Jordan De Goey. Now, De Goey has had 20-plus touches the last 2 games. Now he's returned to full fitness. His role against Brisbane is going to be a game wrecker. We saw what he did in the 2023 grand final. He's gone 26-26. I like him for 19 touches. He's so crucial. Collingwood's forward line, I think it's well balanced. I think it's in good order. He seems to be fit enough, Geordie, to play full midfield minutes. I like him for 20 touches in this one. I also like Jasper Fletcher for 20 touches. Now, Jasper has hit this line, I'm fairly certain, his last 8 games. He's proved to be such a crucial player for the Brisbane Lions, an elite ball user, an elite reader of the ball as well, and someone who can push up the ground, whether it be that wing role, whether it be the halfback role. I don't think he's a midfielder just yet, but he can push up to stoppages and get his hands on the pill. I love Jasper Fletcher. He's been so reliable. I'm locking him in for 20 touches as well. Those are the 5 players I love for disposals for tomorrow night's game. Goals-wise, it's a tough one. It should be a low-scoring, gritty contest. Collingwood do struggle to score 80 points most weeks. So if they get over 80, then you're looking at your Jamie Elliott's potentially for some goals. I don't really trust any other Pies forwards. Brisbane, the man in form was actually Kai Lohmann. Now, Lohmann had some disgusting form early in the year. He had some injuries. He had some games where he was subbed out quite early on. But last 5 games, he's gone 3, 3, 2, 2. I think 2 goals at $2 ain't bad for someone that plays the MTG very well. But I'm not as enthused for goal bets for this preliminary final. I'm more keen on tonight's game between Geelong and Hawthorn than I am between Brisbane and Collingwood. But I like the disposals very heavily for tomorrow's game. I think there's going to be a lot of touches flowing, and it should be a tight, close contest that is potentially low scoring. That's it for the previews for the 2 prelims this weekend. I cannot wait. As you can clearly see, let's get it started. Well, that's it. That's Slam Talk Sports for another week. Hope you enjoyed my preliminary final preview. Hope you enjoyed my rant about the Essendon Football Club. They're only going to get worse and worse as we get deeper into the trade period. And yeah, have a great time. If you're going to the games, find me. Let's take a photo. Let's talk some footy. Let's share a beer. Let's cry about Essendon, okay? We can do that together. If not, enjoy it at home. Follow along on the live stream on Fancast. Unfortunately, I can't be there tonight, but I'm sure they're going to do a great job. Joe and Anna, as they always do. I'm sure Steve is not there. I'm sure he is currently hyperventilating, keeled over, watching Surioli highlights, hoping that it's going to be another great night for the Hawthorn Football Club. For myself, I'll be there. I'll be watching with my great friend Yanni and my dad, Michael Duncan, who is back, and we'll be having a couple of beers, maybe a little bit of roast pork, and enjoying what should be one of the great finals of all time. And we'll be doing it all again tomorrow as Collingwood take on Brisbane. What else is on this weekend? We've got the EDFL Grand Final. I was honoured to be in the commentary box last Sunday when Keilor took on Airport West. Mick McGuan's Keilor against Coach Brent Taylor's Airport West. It was a gripping preliminary final. But Keilor, as they so often do in this competition, got off to a roaring start and they never let up. Now, it was, I think, about 21 points at one stage, thanks to the brilliance of Tyson Young, yes, and of course Luca Muratore, 2 fantastic players for Airport West. But we know Keilor, they're so consistent, whether it's Daly, whether it's Hughes, whether it's one of their million midfielders, which are also classy, they find a way, they've got great depth. Keilor take on Strathmore. I think it's 2:15 on Saturday. It might be a little bit later, sorry. But make sure you're there by 2 o'clock. Should be a cracker. We know how good the EDFL is. We know how good these grand finals are. But unfortunately, we know how damn good Keilor are. I think this is the first time in a long time they're not favoured in the grand final. However, they just find a way. They always find a way. If I was to tip who's going to win, I'd say Keilor, because they've got the master coach in Mick McGuan. Now, I've watched a lot of EDFL this year, I've got to be honest. Strathmore, they were my team going up. Yeah, I think I used to support Strathmore. I didn't get a game for them. No, I wasn't I wasn't good at footy. We've discussed this at length. My good friend Andrew Gallucci won't, unfortunately, be playing in the grand final this week, and I don't think Leicesters are laid out. But yes, I've always liked Strathmore, but I do think Keilor will find a way to win this one in what should be an absolute ripping grand final at Windy Hill on Saturday afternoon. Of course, also on Saturday night, we've got some Premier League action. Liverpool take on Everton in the Merseyside derby. We just saw Liverpool win once again, deep into stoppage time last Sunday against Burnley. And of course, we saw him win in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid, thanks to another Virgil van Dijk injury time winner. They just keep finding a way, my Reds. I think they've scored 6 goals in red time, as I like to call it, this season when it's been deep in injury time. They called it Fergie time back in the day. I don't want anyone to call it now. It's not, is it Klopp time? Is it Slot time? Is it Virgil time? The Reds, they just find a way in red time. They are simply the best in the business at getting the job done when it comes down to it. Also, on Sunday, we've got the VFL Grand Final between the Western Bulldogs and Southport. And we have the Sandford Grand Final on Sunday as well, which is between Sturt and Glenelg, 2 famous rivals. It is a jam-packed week full of football, full of sport. NFL on Monday, Brownlow on Monday. I cannot wait. Let's kick it all off at the MCG tonight. Hope you enjoyed another podcast from Slam Talk Sports. Have a great night. Enjoy the games, and let's get it going. Come on, let's go.